Okay, the first thing I'm going to say, check this out. I haven't worn this hat in a YouTube video in forever. For those of you who remember my first couple years on YouTube, probably remember this hat. But second of all, if you don't want to listen to this explanation, blither blather, complaining stuff, the timestamp on your screen right now is the time that you need to skip to in this video. It will remain in the lower corner for the entire time while I'm talking. The comment that you see below showed up in my inbox today. This person is far from the only one to make mention of this, but this is by far the only comment that I've really taken exception to. I've got a life, I have a full-time job, I have other things to do than to edit this Q&A video. I'm sorry, it doesn't seem like I'm prioritizing this, because this seems, for some people, this is probably a big priority. But it's a really low priority for me, because I'm going to be completely honest with you. I hate talking in front of cameras. Likewise, there's a couple of times during the process of this where I've said, screw it, I am done with this, I'm tired of doing this, I want to do something else. Because even though it was fun to record, it is not so fun to edit. This took 2 hours to record. Oh yeah, and by the way, for the record, this has been recorded since June, which was 2 months after I uploaded the initial Ask Me for Question video. So June. It's been 3 months since then. I lost the footage in June, got it back in July, edited a little bit of it and said screw it because, well, frankly, I just wasn't really interested in trying to shorten a 2-hour-long video because there's a ridiculously large amount of crap in the video because I can't talk in front of a camera. So that was a thing. In August, I decided that I was going to go ahead and try and re-record it. I did. It didn't turn out very well, so I scrapped that idea. And didn't really get much done on that either. September rolls around. Work's busy. In fact, even in August, work is busy for me. It takes a lot of the effort and it drains a lot of my enthusiasm for doing some of this stuff away. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to work on other video projects. Because let's face it, even though this is a pretty important thing, I have computers that I need to record videos of. I had a fan. I have review videos I want to record. I've got other stuff to do. I first asked for questions in April when I had about 700 subscribers. I've now got almost 800. Those other 100 people probably want to watch content. Now, whether or not they're actually doing it is debatable, but they probably want to see some video content. And who am I to sit here and force myself to edit this crap when I can make videos of other crap and upload that for people to enjoy? I'm going to take the latter option. So I'm very sorry if that comes across as my being rather cold and callous and the fact that I don't care about my viewers or anything like that. I do care. Which is why I've been uploading other content in the meantime. I don't do things in a linear fashion. Because, frankly, it's not fun to try and do things in a linear fashion. I do things all over the place. I'm in the middle of recording at least 4 different videos. I'm in the middle of editing at least 12 others. Thinking about it, well, part videos. Most of them are part videos. But you get the idea. I've got a lot of things on the go. Plus, I've got a life. I've got things I want to do outside of that. I have a live broadcast to attend to and prepare for 3 days of the week. During the summer, it was 4 days of the week. And I have a full-time job that's been sucking the life out of me for the last month, and it's going to continue to suck the life out of me probably for the next couple months. So, that's the explanation. That is how I'm going to justify it. If you accept that justification, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. But that's how I'm going to justify it, and that's good enough for me. The audio quality in the video you're about to watch isn't quite up to snuff. That was why I wanted to re-record it. But because now people are pining to have this video, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get it released. This is what happens when you rush a product. I'm sorry to have to pass that burden on to you, but there you go. So without further ado, let's go ahead and actually get on with this. Greetings, viewers. So, obviously, as you can tell, unlike last time, I'm actually getting down to brass tacks when it comes down to making the questions and answers video. And also, unlike last time, there are actually rather few questions. On one hand, I appreciate this. On the other hand, it would have really been nice to have a few more in order to make this video longer. But who knows? It's still open as I'm making this part of the video right now, so maybe I will actually get more. And I'll tell you right now, I better get to doing this snappy because the video light on this camcorder, which is on, is really freaking bright. I'm reading the questions, by the way, off of this little Acer netbook. It's kind of a piece of garbage, and you can see it's got fingerprints all over it. I hate glossy equipment. But this will do because it actually runs. So, anyways, Bump It Master 2006 writes in to ask, can I add you to a Hangouts group? No. I don't do Hangouts. I don't generally do random Skype conversations. There's a couple people I will talk to on there. I'm involved in one group, and that's pretty much it. I don't really like to have a whole lot to do with any of that. Because, really, I just don't think it's fun. I like making YouTube videos, and I like interacting in the comments, but that's pretty much the extent. Oh yeah, and I like doing live shows, too. That's actually really exciting. Playful Silver asks, how many computers do you have? You're going to make me count the number of computers that I have. That's not really going to be of any benefit. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I have a website, and I've got it mostly up to date. So if you want to know how many computers I have and how much computer junk I've got lying around, you can go visit that. I will provide you with a link in the video description down below, and that will probably be of far more benefit than me just trying to rattle off the top of my head how many machines I've got. I'm going to try and I'm going to do a count. It's probably not going to be accurate because I really just don't know. In fact, you know what? I'm not even going to bother because I got a stack of goodness only knows how many laptops down there. I've got goodness only knows how many desktops in the closet over there. I've got machines sitting on all over the floor. I've got this in my hand right now, and I've got the stuff that's in the low-end radio studio. I don't know how many I've got off the top of my head, and it's not countable, so go over there. You'll get your answer, and it'll be far better than me trying to figure out how many machines I've got in this video, because I can guarantee you that if you watch this video a month, 3 months, a year, a decade from now, that number will have changed dramatically. So, Duke the Shadow Slayer, trademark, writes in to ask, do you believe in UFOs, and have you ever had a girlfriend? I'm going to answer the latter question right off the bat. It's none of your business, but no. And I really don't have any interest in that, so there you go. But like I said, it's really none of your business to know any of that information. Do you believe in UFOs? Well, I'll believe it when I see it. So that's really how I go about it with everything. If I see something, then I'll really believe in it. And there are certain exceptions, obviously, but for the most part, that's how I believe in everything. I believe it because I've seen it happen. Blacklight 8001 writes in to ask, what was your reason for starting a YouTube channel? Also, do you think you will ever release your AGC program to anyone? My reasons for starting a YouTube channel are not really what it's become at all. In fact, the reason why I started a YouTube channel is because I wanted to easily keep track of videos that I liked. So I started this and I made a playlist of basically UXW Bill, V Westlife, and B Bishop PCM's videos, because that's really the kind of stuff that I was interested in, and there were other things here or there. But it was mostly so I could keep on top of the videos that I happen to like, and keep on top of the YouTube users whose videos that I happen to frequently watch, because it was a lot better to do that than to keep things bookmarked in tabs. And I've never been really much big on bookmarks. My way of bookmarking things is to leave it open in a tab and start a new tab. It's probably pretty obvious because I've had thousands of tabs open in the past, and that's not really something I recommend you do. Obviously, that whole outlook changed when I became so thoroughly infuriated with the Lubuntu Linux operating system. Please do not berate me for my pronunciation of that word, Lubuntu. I don't care if it's however you want to pronounce it. So, because I know somebody's going to do it anyways if I don't. It just happens on every single video it comes up on, so. Do you think you'll ever release your AGC program to anyone? Well, at this point, I'm going to say, what AGC program? I did develop what I thought was going to be a great automatic gain control program But as it turns out, it actually doesn't work. Or it didn't work on my production system, which, funny enough, was this thing right here. I haven't tested it further. Perhaps someday, maybe even in a couple days, I may actually upload it and say, here, if you want to test this and see if it works, that's perfectly fine by me. But in its current state, it doesn't work, at least not as far as I know, and I've basically abandoned that project with plans to revisit it at some point when I actually have the time to do such a thing and when I actually have the motivation to do such a thing, because frankly, I really just don't want to do it. So hopefully we actually visit that at some point. But I'm probably going to do something like Stereo Tool on that system, because that program that I wrote really doesn't work. And it's not even a fault of me, it's more so a fault of the way the programming language treats a volume level. It's got to do with volume levels and how the programming language of choice does that kind of thing. I think it's actually called gain, and it and I have differing opinions of what gain actually means. So, Plasma Master Dawn writes in with 2 questions. First, are you still broadcasting on iVlog? Because I haven't seen you lately. And second, do you know what happened to Weasel? I haven't seen him casting either. I am. And Weasel is as well. Both of us are still very much in the swing of things. I am still broadcasting on Mondays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Time. And also on Tuesdays from 9 to 12, or from 10 to 1, or from 9 to 1. Basically, you're guaranteed to find me from 10 to 12 on Tuesdays. And then on Wednesdays, there'll be a show immediately following Matt Kirby Crazy, or Matt S78MN. Weasel is broadcasting in his usual time. There's been really no change with that, so I'm not really entirely sure what the I haven't seen him comes from. You should probably subscribe to the channel, and you should be getting an email. As far as I know, iVlog does actually still send emails. They may end up in your spam box. You should probably check that. But I still get the emails. I know some people have reported they don't, so I don't know what to tell you with that. And finally, Zach B writes in to say, your YouTube videos are awesome. Well, thank you, but number 1, that isn't a question, and number 2, it is my very carefully considered opinion that that is wrong. My videos are crap. So, barring any further questions that I get from that, that's it for the questions that were asked on the video. Now, I'm going to get a drink. We're going to get into at least the 2. Actually, there's more than 2, but I'm basically going to answer it as if it's 2 questions. The 2 most frequently asked questions on this channel. What does your username mean? Well, a good username is short and easy to remember. So it is that it's pretty much all shortened. It consists of 3 parts. The first of which is Carnell, which is short for Carnelian. It is a gemstone that I happen to really like the color of, so that's what I chose for that. Prod is obviously a short for Productions, because even though I really wasn't intending to make YouTube videos, I thought, well, everybody uses that these days, so I threw it in there myself. And 666. Despite what everybody else on YouTube says, and what everybody else on YouTube might think, it is no more than the number 6 repeated 3 times. Why? Well, I like the number 6 and I like the number 3. And getting back to the whole idea of it being shortened, repeating the number 3 6 times was a lot longer than repeating the number 6 3 times. So I went with the latter option. Had I known what kind of horrors awaited me by choosing the latter option, I would have chose the former option. But hindsight's 20/20. So that's what the username means. And the next biggest question. Why don't I shoot in high definition? What do I think is so bad about this camera? Because I've trash-talked this camera very often. And what is so great about standard definition video? Why do I still shoot in standard definition in the year 2017? Well, this is very simple. High definition video may be very cheap to record. And a lot of people are of this opinion. I'm not, but I'm not a lot of people, so there's one thing, and I can agree with that. A lot of cell phones these days shoot 1080p video. Some even shoot 4K. And there are most consumer camcorders on the market. In fact, I think all of them these days shoot high definition 1080p. Some of them even do 60 FPS, like this one. High definition video is not easy to store, easy to render, or easy to upload. Yes, in the year 2017, it still takes an obscene amount of time. It still takes an obscene amount of time to upload a 1080p video, even more so for 60 FPS. It still takes an obscene amount of time to render a 1080p video, again, more so for 60 FPS, because there's more data, obviously. And it takes a lot of space to store these things, almost double the amount, in fact, even more than double the amount, for high definition than it is for standard definition. Another reason, standard definition camcorders are plentiful. Like, I can pull one right here, right now. They're everywhere. You can find them in thrift stores for like $5. So that's another reason. They're cheap, they're easy to come by, even more so compared to high definition. It's easy on my disc. It's easy to import, it's easy to render, it's easy to upload, and it looks fine. It looks fine to me. YouTube, unfortunately, nerfs standard definition video quality. I have no idea why they do this. They do a lot of stupid things, really. So it's not much of a surprise that this is something they do. But standard definition, really, there's just no benefit to high definition for me. I don't watch YouTube in high definition, generally. Unless I really want to see, with crystal clear clarity and full screen, what some little detail in the video is, I will not watch it in high definition because I don't care. I just don't care. It looks fine to me in standard def. So, that's why. And why do I trash talk this camcorder? Even though this camcorder shoots 1080p 60 FPS, the build quality is, well, I'm probably going to use a swear word at some point in my description of this, but the build quality is pants. This thing feels like a cheap kid's toy. That's one thing. The second thing is the battery doesn't last very long, and one may say, oh, well, the battery in all these standard definition camcorders doesn't last very long because it's completely dead. To which I reply that's incorrect. I have a for VHS-C camcorder, I have a 6 AA pack, which lasts longer than the battery in this thing does. So, there's that. And I mean, sure, you can recharge this battery. You can't recharge that one, but AA batteries are cheap. So there's one thing as well. I also find the firmware on this thing is just bonkers. There's a lot of things that it just doesn't get right. And it's stupid that it doesn't get these things right. So, it seems like the firmware in this is half-assed, the build quality is half-assed, and the lens is garbage. It gives an awful fisheye look when you're zoomed all the way out. It looks really bad. And the audio quality isn't really good either. The video quality that comes out of this thing, it's all grainy, even in great lighting. Like, I mean, look at this. I mean, sure, there's video grain all over the place, but it's mostly towards the edges where it's darker, and there isn't a lot of video grain to begin with. In fact, I'm going to get out of the shot right now, and you can see that what little grain there isn't multicolored grain all over the place. It looks fine. That other camcorder doesn't. And it needs lighting suitable for a football stadium in order to work properly. In order to get to this point right here. So what's the point? And again, there comes that whole idea that, well, standard definition video just takes up less space and it takes up less time to get to you, the viewing audience. So there's why I use standard definition. If you don't agree with it, well, that's fine. But guess what? It's my channel, so I'll use whatever camcorder and whatever medium I prefer. Alright, and so the questions and answer video is now done. If you've got any further questions that you would like me to answer, please leave them down below. I may get to them in the next video, or I may answer them in the comments. If you've got any other comments, do feel free to leave them down below as long as they're constructive. And this is CP666 signing off. I hope to see you next time. Till then, guys.